The Detroit Lions opened the 2013 season at home against the Minnesota Vikings. Detroit currently installed as a 5-point favorite on BETDAQ. In looking at this game closely and examining both rosters, it's tough not to come away with the feeling that Detroit is just a better team. They're much more explosive on offense. Their defense was better than Minnesota's last year statistically. And more importantly, they seem to match up really well with Minnesota. Detroit's strengths correspond with Minnesota's weaknesses and vice versa. The Detroit Lions are a passing offense, second in the NFL last year in pass yards per game, and Minnesota has serious problems in the secondary. On the other side of the ball, Minnesota likes to run the football. Adrian Peterson, the best running back in the NFL, MVP of the league last year. But Detroit has one of the best defensive lines in the NFL, so it would seem like if anybody's set up to handle Adrian Peterson in that Minnesota ground game, it would be Detroit, especially when they know that the Vikings are a one-dimensional team. Christian Ponder does not pass the ball very well, only passed for 307 yards last year in 2 games combined against the Detroit Lions. So they'll no doubt load up the box against Peterson, force the Vikings into some uncomfortable situations, trusting Christian Ponder. And this Lions offense, for a couple of years now, has been as explosive as any offense in the NFL, certainly through the air. The Matt Stafford to Calvin Johnson combination, probably the most potent quarterback to wide receiver combination in the NFL right now. Going to be tough for the Vikings to contain them. The only reason this line is reasonable, the only reason it's only 5, is because of last season's weirdness. Everybody thought Detroit was going to be pretty good heading into last season. They were not. Everyone thought Minnesota was going to be bad. They snuck into the playoffs, and that has confused everybody and thrown people off. I challenge you as a bettor to realize and understand the NFL, so much changes every year. Each season is a self-contained universe. Each season stands on its own merit, and the most common mistakes the NFL handicappers, myself included, everybody does it. It's hard not to do it. The most common mistakes we make throughout the first few weeks of each season is relying too much on last season. You know, we'll be in week 3 or 4 of the season, and we'll say, well, I know this team is better than they've shown, even though they've lost all their games, because I saw them last year. Every year is a different story. Don't rely too much on last year. This game is black and white obvious. Detroit is the better team, and they should cover 5 at home fairly easily.